So, good evening, everyone. Thank you all for joining in here today for this session that we are calling Ask the Coach. As you all know, we organize this session primarily in support of a program which is being run by Concern India Foundation um, uh, for organizing oxygen concentrators and other support for who are the help at this point in time. Uh, it's just that as you all know, we've at various point in time we try to do our bit, and this is just another attempt to come forward and do what we can. And since running is what is dear to us all, I thought let's just make it more meaningful, make this a platform for us to also have a kind of an exchange and learn from each other. And yes, as the coach, you can ask me whatever you may like, and in the meet along with that also be more productive towards our society. So to begin with, we'll just start with a small presentation about what exactly Concern India is doing. So I'll let Survi, who's representing Concern India, take over, and she'll just introduce with their program and what it is all about. So over to you, Survi.
Right. Thank you, Tarun. I hope I'm audible. Am I clear? Can everyone hear me? Tarun, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, great. So I'll begin with saying a big thank you to Tarun first. To even, coming up and doing this at this time, the support we require in our country is huge. And what Tarun is doing is highly, highly commendable. And it's very generous and kind of him to set this platform, bring all of you here. And so thank you to all of you for considering this also and giving your part to Concern India Foundation. So I'll not take much time. I will introduce you all to Concern India. Concern India Foundation is a 30-year-old charity. We work pan-India on the issues of education, health, and community development. And briefly, we'll see what Concern India does through a movie. So, Tarun, I'll be sharing the screen.
Yeah, please. Surbi, there's no sound in the.
Sorry?
There's no sound in this.
There's no sound?
No, we can't hear any.
1 second. Yeah, everything is on full volume here from my side. Everything is on full volume here. Tarun, you're on mute.
Yeah, so there are titles on this. I guess we'll just maybe live with it.
No, that shouldn't happen. Should I just send this link to you? If you can, yeah, I'll just quickly do that. 1 minute. Just stop share. I'll share it on WhatsApp. Tarun, I have shared it with you, the link. Or I'll put it here on Zoom chat also.
You're on mute.
Are you sharing it here? Yeah.
Yeah, shared.
Got it.
Since 1991, Concern India Foundation has been reaching out to people to help them become self-reliant and live a life of dignity.
Is it audible now?
Yes.
In the past 5 years, our programs have nurtured more than 1,300 grassroots organizations that helped nearly 1 million people across India. Our programs help children stay healthy, get active, and learn better. We enable the differently abled to engage with the world around them. Become self-reliant and express themselves. Our programs help women prepare for their future and become independent. We support the elderly so that they live out their lives with dignity and respect. Empower people to come together, to manage their resources, and uplift their communities. At Concern, we believe we can change the world by empowering people to help themselves and live with dignity. Be a part of their inspiring stories of hope. Concern India Foundation. Themselves.
Thank you, Tarun, for sharing the video. The last minute glitch had to happen.
Always have a backup.
Yes, thank you so much. So I'll just take a minute of time, your time. So Concern India Foundation has done a lot of relief work during the first wave of COVID. And now we are here again with the second wave. And this wave has totally crippled our health infrastructure and has hurt us really bad. So we all have got down to the ground level and we are equipping all our healthcare systems, our frontline workers, our public healthcare systems, healthcare centers with all the essentials required at this time. When I talk of essentials, I'm talking about all the consumables, all ventilators, oxygen concentrators. So we are doing our best with the help of our corporate partners, our individual supporters, and we're trying to reach out to the neediest in our community. So our COVID relief work is on, and there is still a lot of requirement. And thank you to all of you for contributing towards this issue today. Thank you, Tarun.
Great. Thank you, Surbi. It's a pleasure. As a group, we have this group by the name of Run Extreme, and for last 5 years, we've always, So frankly, I may have been the one to initiate it, but trust me, everybody really comes forward and supports it so overwhelmingly each time. So yes, big thanks to everybody who's here. They make it possible.
Yeah.
So great, we'll get down to the business, guys. It's time for you to ask and for me to tell. But the questions should just be restricted to running, nutrition, and strength training. Any other question can only be sent to me on DM, not asked here publicly. So we'll get started. What we will do to kind of ensure that we try and pack in as much we can during this course of the thing. We'll start with questions, but I would request that as we go along, most of the questions will be common. So a lot of things will get answered for when it is being answered for somebody else. So just try to restrict it to 2 questions. And then if we have time, we can come back to more. So each one of you, when you ask a question and you can ask one more and then we move to the next person. And just to get some order, what we've done, we've just put these names in a little random order so that we can keep asking. So the first one is Rakesh Agarwal. Has Rakesh joined already? I'm not sure. Rakesh, are you here? Rakesh is not here as yet. The next name is Suresh Buddhiraja. Sureshji, are you here? I did see the name.
Yes, yes, I am here, but I am just listening to your expert advice and now particular question.
You have the chance to ask also anything.
Okay, I will definitely ask. But...
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so the next is Bhupendra Swag, Colonel Swag. You've shared a list, so please go ahead. Let me try and address what you have to ask.
It was regarding that energy gel thing, because the brand ambassador, like there is one I don't want to know. There is a female athlete in Calcutta. Anjali Sarogi, she keep on changing from one brand to another brand, whichever give her more money or whatever the promoter gives. So this results in confusion to layman athlete like us. So if they can stick to one brand, because when they are like, if they are with Fast and Up, they sponsor that brand. Then they shift to Uniwear, then they shift to Leap, and then they Rabbit and other things. So if they can stick to that one brand, so it will be better for us also. And once more, if you can say something about that hydration pack also.
So, as far as these brands are concerned, I think these are people's personal choice, whom they like to associate their commercial reasons. As an athlete, for us, what we need to understand, there will be an advertisement for everything. We need to choose what is best for us. And sometimes, there'll be something that suits you, but doesn't suit everybody. So it's a very individualistic thing. Technically, most of the brands that are at least in India right now, they're all at par. I would not really say one is better than the other, but then it's always better that you try out yourself and see what works for you, because even in these brands, they have slight difference in compositions, which sometimes suit a particular person and doesn't suit the other. So hydration pack that you were asking for, again, it's just a matter of it's a very handy thing when you're doing longer runs. It's always good to carry your own hydration. But when you're doing road running, you generally are able to get a support. Even in races, we have enough support. So you don't need those hydration packs to carry. Okay, so the next name is Noor Jahan Momin. Hi, Noor.
Good evening, everyone. Okay, sir. So my question is primarily about, I took a very long break and now I'm trying to get back to running. And this is one issue I have been facing for a very long time, that when I'm either doing high intensity workout, or maybe, trying to run for slightly longer duration, I feel very tired, very exhausted, and generally I start getting very acidity, like, high acidity. So what could be the reason? And generally, like, as an athlete or somebody who's trying to build up stamina, how can we deal with it?
So this,
And
yeah, sorry, go ahead.
the second question is also, like, when I have been completely off the track for a very long time, and when I left it, I had not like ran for a very long time. I had a very sedentary lifestyle. I ran for a few years, then it completely went off the track. Now I'm trying to come back. So can you just tell us, like, how we can start slow and
I'll put the two together. And in fact, your first question was, it covers a lot of things altogether. I'll try and address it as much as I can. The first of all, the thing is that, any physical activity that you do, your body needs to get used to it. Your system needs to be able to respond to it in many ways than we think. We think that, okay, we're just getting out and doing it, and, it will just happen. It doesn't happen. So your muscles need to kind of, over a period of time, they may have become weak, they may not be as strong. Your body may be strong, but it may not be as active. And your nutrition system, your fuel system may not be really kind of in tune with the physical activity that you want to undertake. So like when you're saying acidity, that's also reflux when sometimes, our body fuel is not supporting our activity. So to keep it simple, what I would say, just let your body kind of get attuned to what you're doing. Give it time to react and adapt. And slowly it gets used to it. Your body, if I just quickly touch upon the nutrition part, there are different resources of nutrition fueling in our body. And each of them reacts to the intensity of the workout we are doing. Now that intensity is different for different people at different stages of their activity level. What I'm doing right now may be very easy for somebody and may be very difficult for somebody else. But, so each of different person's body will react to the level of intensity that their body responds to, and accordingly it starts releasing that kind of fuel. And in a certain fuel, your body does get, when, typically when you talk about ketosis, that's a technical term, where your proteins are breaking into your fuel. That's where you start getting some kind of an acidic reflux also sometimes. So the idea is, number one, go slow. Number two, when you're building up, build up your aerobic base. So work on low intensity and expand your aerobic base and let your body get used to it, and slowly it all will fall into place. Thanks, Noor. The next name we have is Ajit sir. I'm not sure if he's joined us yet. He's not here. So we'll move to the next name, and that is Gunjan Shah. Gunjan, how are you?
Sir, fine. Thank you, sir.
Yes, Gunjan.
Question, sir. Let me think a question I haven't thought actually. Maybe
Okay.
we can continue, and if I have, I'll just interrupt you.
Okay. Next one is Franklin Alagila. I hope I got the name right. Franklin, are you here? Yeah, you're here.
Yeah, I'm here.
Hi.
Let me just make my screen big. It has become very small. Just give me a second. Can you
Sure.
hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
I did something and the screen became so small. Yeah. Thank you. I'm a fitness freak. So I exercise almost every day. Like I do about 30 minutes. Actually, I cannot do 30 minutes because it is HIIT, high intensity training. But I do it every day without fail. 20 to 25 minutes I do.
Okay.
And I do get very tired by the end of my training. But I don't reduce weight. I don't eat much. My I mean, recently I got my complete health checkup done. Everything turned out to be normal. Thyroid, BP, sugar. But my BMI is around 30.
30.
I want to get it to, yeah, 30 to 31. I want to get it to 25.
Yeah.
Sometimes it drops to 29 and then again it goes back to 30. So I don't eat too much. I don't know what to do.
Can I know how old are you?
I'm 52.
52. Okay, so just to put things in reference, my age is 50, and I can relate to the age and I understand what you're talking about. But what I want you to understand here, Franklin, is that, you know, most of the time there's a misconception that we all brew, and probably that's how, you know, the simplistic mind sees that losing weight is about eating less. And that's unfortunately the most incorrect way to lose weight. You know, you may lose weight, but that may actually be the most unhealthy thing that you'll be doing for yourself. When you're exercising, your body needs fuel, so you need to provide it fuel, which is in form of food. What is important is that you provide the right fuel. Now, the point here is that when you're eating less, you are not necessarily providing the right meal, the right ingredients or the nutrients that your body requires. So what happens is that your body is, as it is being calorie deficient, and then it's getting things which doesn't require, and unfortunately they're converting more into your fat and they're just accumulating in your body. So it's very important when you want to lose weight, the focus should not only be on eating less. You should consult a nutritionist who will be able to advise you through it, where your focus should be on eating right. And I don't like to use the term lose weight. I think it's about weight management. So you have to ensure that for all that exercises you're doing, you are supplementing it with the right food, and your weight may take time to get into its place, but it surely will. With age, there's a challenge that we all get is that our basic metabolic rate, BMR that we call, gets lower. So our body loses the ability of burning out the calories as well as they would do for a youngster. So if you have an active lifestyle, that helps. But then again, if you are not fueling your body right, your body kind of gets a message that it will not get the right fuel. So it learns to operate on the wrong fuel, and which has its own negative impact. So, you know, often we think that we are eating less and that's the right thing to do. Unfortunately, it is not. So it's very important that either you review it yourself if you think you can, or take the help of a nutritionist. You must not just focus on eating less. You must eat a protein-rich diet, you know, and maybe you can cut down on certain carb if that is the idea to, you know, because that's where you probably don't need that many carbs to, you know, because already your BMI is 30 or something. And then give it time, you know, 6 months, I'm sure you'll see the results. And also another thing I like to add is that maybe you should try and increase your workouts from more than 30 minutes, because I think 30 minutes is where our body just starts priming up. So you should do
actually, sorry to interrupt. I do high intensity training. So it's actually, I jump rope.
Okay.
So I jump about 3,000 to 5,000 times a day.
Wow. Okay.
So I do a lot of, I do participate in long distance cycling.
Okay.
So 300, 400, 600 kilometers. I have a lot of stamina.
Okay.
Still, I cannot reduce my BMI.
See,
I do 20 minutes of rope jumping and 10 minutes of weightlifting every day, 7 days a week.
Okay.
So,
you know, there are a couple of things here. When you're doing high intensity, that has its own purpose and, you know, effect. You need to also bring in some amount of cardio you know, because it's not just about, in fact, when you're doing your high intensity workouts primarily works on your glycogens, because those are the easy source of resource. And you need to work a lot on your cardiovascular activity. So you need to bring in a lot of aerobic workout.
It's not aerobic. It is aerobic, right? It is aerobic.
But when you're doing high intensity, it will be definitely crossing your aerobic zone. And then besides that, I think
by the end of 20 minutes, I'm totally panting.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. If it's 30 minutes you're panting, then it's not aerobic. Then it must be getting anaerobic. It crosses the limit of your aerobic threshold, and it goes to the zone where you are falling short of oxygen. Yeah, so you need to work on aerobic zone a lot. That will also help you a lot. And next thing I would like to suggest is that you try to bring in a little more variation to your workouts, because if you're doing the same workout every day, I'm not sure if your results will be that impressive. So try and bring in a little more variation into your workouts.
Okay.
Okay, so we can move to the next one. Next name is Krishan Kumar. Is Krishan here? Okay, I think Krishan is not here. And after Krishan, we have another name, Ajanta. Ajanta?
Yes, sir. Good evening to all.
Yeah. Hi.
Am I audible, sir?
Yes, you are.
Yeah, actually, I'm not a pro at all. And with your motivation, I just like once I met you people at Lodi, and since it was not feasible for me to like go from Vasant Kunj at that point of time, that slot. So I used to do a little bit here near Sanjayvan and stuff like that. So I was asking, is there any possibility that you coach me virtually, like the slots you people are carrying on at the same time? If you can coach me, any possibilities are there, then I get that motivation. With your group motivation only, I myself tutor myself and carry on a bit, though it's not useful at all. I know it's just a fancy stuff.
Definitely possible.
But
There are a lot of people who we do online coaching for, and people connect with us and we share them a running schedule and a workout schedule. Like you already are on our online workout session. So we do online coaching, and since you are in Delhi and Vasant Kunj is not that far, so maybe weekends you can come and run with us on Saturday, Sunday.
sir, it is not convenient for me. I know it's not. I'm not this part. I'm not from this part. I'm not that pro with the areas also. I'm all alone. I have to. I don't drive also, so it's not that feasible for me from Vasant Kunj to Lodi.
There are enough mediums to connect and observe your performance and your workouts online through various apps, and so we can always do that online tutoring. That's not a problem at all.
Okay, and next question goes for my stamina. That is what I like, that gasping and panting becomes a little difficult for me. Maybe because I'm all alone and there's no that push is not there and that motivation is not there. I gradually diminish, the energy diminishes. So if stamina, as Noor was asking you, that same problem for me also, like for stamina, for lung capacity increasing, what like I can, it's maybe the practice you said.
So there are two things here. One is the physiological part of it, and other is psychological part of it. Physiological is, as I said, that give it time. You know, your body needs to adapt to what you're doing. You have been having a certain lifestyle, and your body to start responding to a different lifestyle, it takes a while. And slowly but surely, you know, it becomes easier. Every day it becomes easier than yesterday. So
Right.
there's not about that at all. You know, your lung capacity and all, that's why I was like telling somebody, Franklin, just now about your cardiovascular, because you start improving your lung capacity, your breathing capacity, your blood circulation becomes better, your heart starts operating at a better rate, and it just becomes easier. You know, there is no other way that it goes. It just becomes easier and you become stronger. And the other part psychologically, as you that I want to mention is that, you know, I do agree with you that being alone and working out alone, running alone can be a little challenging. But let me tell you, there is no way that you cannot do it alone. You know, the motivation that you talk about lies within yourself. This is my very strong belief. Every time that I step out, every morning that I get up for myself, not for somebody else.
Exactly, sir. That is what.
Somebody and aspire, but then the motivation is in myself. I step out every day to work out, to run, to do anything because I feel good about it and I know what benefits it has for me. So as selfish as it may sound, but trust me, moment you start depending on somebody else, you are only making yourself weak. You know, there will be time and day that, you know, the person that you are dependent on may not be available or may change their goals, and then again you will be, you know, left stranded. So it should be other way around, that people should be looking up to you and saying that, oh, look at Ajanta, I must go and maybe just try and run with her.
Thank you, sir. Sir, don't you have any teams this side, sir? Vasant Kunj area?
No, we don't have, we just center ourselves at Lodi, you know, so most of the people from that area come and run with us at Lodi only.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Ajanta. The next one is Pooja. Pooja, would you like to ask something? Pooja was here. I just
Sorry, I'm there. Sorry, yeah. So, because I've just woken up, I mean, I've just got out of COVID. It's exactly a month. So my biggest concern is my heart rate. I mean, my heart rate always was high, but how should I restart my running? So that's a big concern because obviously I can feel it. My muscle strength is gone. It's totally over.
So, yes, you know, COVID is quite a, training experience. You know, the entire process that one goes through, the viral is quite potent. It does leave you very drained and weak. But then we must understand that our body has its own ways of, recapitulating and coming back to, where we had left it behind. What you need to work on is that you need to give it time. You know, at the moment your body is weak, so you need to ensure that, of course, you need to be very careful with your diet. Your nutrition is at this point in time most critical. What are you fueling yourself with? Your hydration at this point is even more important, because whatever we do, hydration plays an important role as a base activity for the rest of the things to happen. So make sure you are drinking enough water, you are taking enough electrolyte. Now about the heart rate is a direct, manifestation of the kind of stress our body is going through. So at any point in time, whenever, COVID or no, not COVID, if you would see that if you haven't slept well the night, your heart rate will be high. If you've had a busy day, you've had a tiring day, your heart rate will be high. Now come down to everything being right, even when you're running, your heart rate is okay in the beginning, but towards the end, your heart rate is high. So at any point in time, if you look at different frames, you will see the heart rate goes up as the stress goes up. Now, transfer that knowledge to your state right now, you having come out of, a certain illness and your body being weak, your heart is having to pump more blood and it is under certain kind of a constant pressure. So it will take a little while before it becomes, comfortable doing what it used to do earlier. All you need to do is just be patient. Don't get too worried, but then give it time. And at the same time, give it time doesn't mean do not be active. You have to be active. You have to start your workout, because that is the only way that it gets used to it. Then once it realizes that, okay, I have to get into a certain activity, then only it will start working around it. So just give it time, but get started ASAP.
Great, great. Thank you, Tarun.
Welcome, Pooja. Okay, so next one we have Andrea. Is Andrea here?
I'm here.
Hey, Andrea.
Hey, yeah. So I have issues with like, do you have any tips on how to reduce inflammation? Because I think I have trouble. I get sore muscles, and I mean, more than normal. Like sometimes, anyway, I always have issues with inflammation. Like, do you have any tips or food or activities or anything I can do to help reduce inflammation?
Inflammation is our body's response to any hard work that we do beyond our regular capacity. And a lot of us may not realize it, but even when we step back from a run up, there is a certain amount of inflammation in our body, which is very natural. And that's what we talk about recovery, where recovery becomes critical. So it's very important that we focus on the food. We focus on the recovery in terms of rest. We focus on recovery in terms of certain exercises also. So, when we typically after our run, if we do some kind of a stretching, that's one way of recovery. If I just talk about a direct result of recovery that we are talking about is a regular flow of blood. So you see, I'll probably bring this in a lot of my answers today, because everything becomes related to your blood circulation and your oxygen supply in your body, because that's where your muscle response and everything comes into play. So a lot of little things that we do, like I said, hydration is one thing, because once we've done a workout, we are generally depleted on our water resources, we are depleted on our salt resources. So we need to work on replenishing those. Then we need to work on the fuel that we've lost, because typically, if you see our calorie consumption throughout the day is about 2000 calories. Whereas if you go out and run or something, you burn about 700-800 calories. So imagine, burning what you would burn in maybe half the day in about an hour or hour and a half. So you can imagine the sudden drop in the energy that our body goes through. So it's very important that we replenish that. Particularly talking about inflammation, I'll share with you some of the food that you can focus on, which will help you, maybe speed up the process of cutting down the inflammation. If the inflammation is too high in India, we are, ice baths are not that accessible, but if you can take a extreme cold shower, that can help. So it just helps you kind of, just get over with that inflammation, as soon as possible. Hydration is the key. Hydration is the big key that you must immediately, and during the course of your workout also, keep having enough water, just to, rather than reacting to it when it happens, counteract to that while it is happening to you.
Great, thanks.
Anything else, Andrea, you would like to ask?
Nothing I can think of right now. Thanks.
Next name we have is Yogesh. Is Yogesh here? Okay, I cannot see Yogesh. The next name we have is Isha Kapoor. Isha Kapoor. Okay, Isha Kapoor is not here. Keshav Agarwal. Hi, Keshav.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. How are you?
Very good. So my question is very similar to what Andrea asked. So the thing is, I haven't been consistent in fitness for a long time. Like only since the last 4 or 5 months, I've been consistent and like I've been working out 4 or 5 days a week. So I just wanted to know, like I have a habit, I think so, of going with the flow and doing something extra. So how can we ensure that? Is there any matrix we can gauge where we know that our body is getting tired and we shouldn't do the extra? And how do we avoid the injury or something?
So, Keshav, there's no matrix to it per se because it's such a thing which will depend, from person to person, and even for an individual, it varies from a day to day and from time to time. What you're doing today. I know you. I've seen you through for last couple of years, and as you would know that your running over period of time has improved. So what was difficult, say about 6 months back, has become easier for now. So when that becomes easier, basically your body becomes capable of doing more of such things, and you can slowly start upgrading. Like I said, that our body has ways of stepping up to the game, but only if we take those initiative. We need to start training, and then slowly our level goes higher, and you will need to be consciously working on it. Listen to your body. If you feel tired, then you need to step back. You need to understand that, okay, this is going beyond what my body can do right now. And so it's a continuous process. At any point in time, if you feel that it is becoming overbearing, you're feeling burnt out, don't think twice, but cut down on your intensity. All the time that when we discuss your runs and all, I always tell you, just run by the effort. Don't run by the pace. Even if we take a particular block of 3 weeks of somebody's training, even during that block of 3 weeks, the person can feel strong on one day and lethargic on another day. You may just go out on one day on an easy run, may also seems like the biggest rock that you have to push across. And there are days when you would do a very fast run and you would just be smiling through it. So be conscious of, your heart rate is one of the signs for it. Always work on your heart rate. Keep that as your marker that, okay, you are not overtraining, and keep that as your pointer to know that, how you are progressing.
Right.
So, one of the things which I like to add for you and Andrea both is that one of the important things about recovery is sleep. Do not ever compromise on sleep. 7 hours of sleep is a must, no matter what. You want to come out next day, train hard, you need that sleep. You compromise on your sleep, you will compromise on your recovery. You compromise on your recovery, your next workout will be not as good. So it's not only 1 + 1 that keeps adding here. You need to keep consolidating your effort, and you need to keep listening to your body. That's what is most important.
Okay. Right, sir.
Okay, so next we have is Rakesh Hire. Is Rakesh here? No, Rakesh is not here, is it? Next we have is Radhika. Radhika? Hello, Radhika, you there? I know.
Radhika, please. Hello. Yeah. Hi, Tarun.
Hi, Radhika.
I don't have it in my mind. No workouts are going on. Just doing some home workouts, stretching and all.
When there is nothing going on. How can you not have a question, Radhika? What is this?
Because running and doing nothing related to running. So I don't have a question. Once I start running back again, I have a lot of questions.
Okay, Angana.
Hi, Tarun. Hi, everyone. Okay, so okay, like everyone, even I'm on lockdown and no all running is happening, which is quite frustrating. But my question is, like, I do these morning sessions with Fit with Tea, and it's fantastic. We have these 1 hour workout, but I don't feel like, like I'm justified enough. I still feel like I should do more. I mean, why is that? I don't know.
Okay, so why is that? Is of course because you have been working out, you've been running, and your body is definitely capable. And probably as the day goes through, you do feel that you have the energy to do some more workout or something. There's no harm in doing it. Maybe you do a small workout in the evening. Maybe you can just do some yoga or something. I personally would recommend not to keep it too intense, because what happens is that when we do intense workouts, our body immunity drops. So you have to understand how it works. As I was saying, there's a depletion of resource. Your energy levels will go down after a workout. Your fuels have dropped. Your body is becoming calorie deficit, and that's where your body, your metabolic rate begins to drop. Your, as I said, the immunity begins to drop, and your body needs to recover. Now, there is a possibility that you do another workout in the evening, and by then you've recovered, and you can again recover for the next workout in the morning. But there's a possibility, bright possibility, that you may not. So though it seems that okay, you have enough energy to come back and do one more workout, but maybe it will not be as simple. A lot of times, like when we do a 10K, 12K run, and we feel, oh, it's all right, you could have done another 15 more, but it's only when you do that another 15 more, you realize all that your body has gone through. So the curve that the energy curve that leads is exponential here. It's not static. So a 2-hour workout will not be 1 hour plus 1 hour. You have to understand that.
So tell me, is it okay if I just do a walk or something in the evening?
Yeah, I would think so. See, again, these are the parameters which are very individualistic. I would say go for a walk and see how your body is responding. If you don't feel lethargic, or if you don't feel fagged out in the beginning, for the next workout, then I think it's perfectly all right.
Because I think it works like this for me, because if I'm not tired enough, I don't get good sleep. And if I don't get good sleep, the next day my workout is obviously going crazy in the morning. Yeah. I just feel I may just want to bring in a walk in the evening.
Possible, so. Yeah. There's no harm. Go for a walk in the evening or something, but not too late. I generally don't recommend, your workout too close to your bedtime. So try and maybe do a 6 o'clock thing or something. I think that's perfectly all right.
Great. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Okay. So next we have is Ajay Tyagi. Ajay Tyagi ji.
वैसे तो कोई मेरा कोई स्पेसिफिक क्वेश्चन नहीं है, पर फिर भी एक क्वेश्चन दिमाग में रहा था. How can one run injury free, and if you get injured, so what should precaution taken by him to recover, to come as soon as possible on the track?
ये वैसे क्वेश्चन नहीं था और आपने इतना बड़ा क्वेश्चन पूछ लिया, but it is very important. So सबसे बड़ी चीज जो हम ये कहते थे आगे जी, to understand your limit, give time to your body to adapt to what we are doing. It's very easy to get misled, because हमारी अक्सर ऐसा होता है when we run, हम एक छोटा सा एग्जांपल, कोई जो 5 किलोमीटर भाग रहे हैं, तो उस वक्त लगता है कि यार खत्म हो जाए. We feel that the body resources are depleting, but after those 5 kilometers we are feeling okay, and ऐसा लगता है भी और भाग सकते थे. So now what happens is that our body has a way to respond to what we are doing. Our body has far more resources than what we consume in a certain workout, in terms of energy, in terms of strength. Whether it is, a 5-kilometer run or a 10-kilometer run or a marathon. But as we have seen that when we run, say, a half marathon or a full marathon, after that, accordingly, the recovery time it takes is more. Now, the problem is that if you do not let your body recover, if on a regular basis, आप एक वर्कआउट कर रहे हैं उसके बाद विदाउट रिकवरी दूसरे वर्कआउट में आ गए हैं, तो आपके मसल्स जो ऑलरेडी डिप्लीटेड हैं वो और स्ट्रेस हो जाते हैं. That is where it leads to injuries. That is one way, one of the reasons that you get injured. The other reason that you get injured is anything that we do, any workout, whether it is running, whether it is weight training, whether it is strength training, body weight workouts, anything that you do, if you are not doing it right, if you're not doing the way it should be done, your muscles will get into undue stress and then they will get injured. So two things, incorrect stress and over stress. ये दो चीजें होती हैं. और इंजरी जो है वो हमारी बॉडी का एक रिस्पॉन्स है जो हमें बताने का कि वी आर डूइंग समथिंग रॉन्ग. सो इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट वी स्टार्ट कैचिंग ऑन द अर्ली साइंस. जैसे अभी केशव को मैं बता रहा था कि यू हैव टू स्टार्ट फीलिंग इफ इट इज बर्निंग यू आउट. If in the morning you get up and your mind says, I don't want to go and work out, then there is something wrong, other than you feeling lazy. So your body will always respond. There is no reason that why you should not get up in the morning and feel excited about your workout and go and do a good workout. Biologically, there is no reason. But if that is happening, then you have been overburning yourself. And if you've been overburning, you're bound to get injured. So don't look at short-term goals. Sometimes one gets carried away and sometimes one is able to push कि ठीक है मैं कर लूंगा. कर सकते हैं, ऐसी बात नहीं है, हमारी बॉडी में कैपेबिलिटी होती है, लेकिन then our body has a bigger price for it to pay, which is what is ideally not a good situation. Thank you, Tyagi ji. Next one we have Mr. Ashok Sidhu. Ashok sir, are you here? I cannot see him.
राकेश अग्रवाल जी आ गए, उनका हाथ भी उठा है.
Rakesh, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good, yeah. We called out your name.
Sorry.
Order.
Yeah. So
please shoot.
While obviously we've been chatting for years now, but I thought two questions I had.
Yes.
One is very specific to myself, obviously. And it's related to energy levels, So basically there are weeks when you in the row 4 or 5 days you continue working out every day in the morning, and then suddenly there is a drop in energy. I don't know, it's a mental thing or physical thing. 2-3 days you don't work out. And so why it happens, obviously that's one question. And how do you ensure that your energy levels are always up, for the morning workout, because mentally you want to do it every day, because that's that's a thing which keeps you going. So that's my first question. Secondly, how to strengthen your back muscle, that's very critical for running. So so that's something.
The first one is a very, very comprehensive aspect of any of the workouts that we do. What happens is that one of the biggest mistake, particularly when we are doing endurance sport, one of the biggest mistake that we make is our nutrition. Because when we are doing any activity which probably is 20-30 minutes long, our body can sustain, and then we get enough time to recover. But when we're doing long distance or any endurance activity, our body, as I said, gets consumed to a point where it must be brought in to recover. For that, again, through the day, if you're not giving it enough fuel, there's a possibility next day itself it will start get into the depletion zone where it will not be able to perform. If you are not hydrating yourself enough, if you are not maintaining your electrolyte level. So if it is happening after 3-4 days, that means your body is able to survive for 3-4 days, and then it gets into a zone where it just flats out. Like what we are just answering in the previous question, on a long-term basis, where your body starts getting injured because it is kind of depleting and it is not recovering. So the key here is nutrition. Because of course your body is capable, but then if it is not being fueled enough, you will always have a challenge. So take smaller meals. That's one thing that works well. Ensure that you are fueling yourself enough in terms of electrolytes and your other micronutrients. Unless that's happening, it will always be a challenge to come back that active to the next workout. Second thing you said about back. Now, back typically is a very vulnerable part of our body, and not just back, the entire core actually comes into the play, because it's a huge chunk of muscles that supports the entire weight of our upper body and loads it on the lower body. So if it is not strong enough, our lower body will get highly loaded, and the chances that then particularly when we're running, you would see that your form gets bad, and of course, besides the continuous overload, that further leads to injuries and all. So it's very important that you work on your core a lot, because that's one thing most of us tend to ignore, and that's where most of our strength training fails. So core training is a key to strength training, because rest of the body muscles are relatively strong for our daily activity. It's the core that gives up, and that's where most of the problems start.
Thank you, Tarun.
Okay, thanks, Rakesh. Alok, you had raised hand. Maybe you have a question for Radhika now.
Yeah, good evening, Tarun sir.
Yes, good evening. How are you?
Good, sir. आप बताइए.
Tell me.
Sir, I have two parts to one question.
Okay.
Can you touch on aerobic run and anaerobic run? And second thing is how to convert your anaerobic run to an aerobic run.
Okay. So I'll quickly tell you about the second part. There is no such thing about converting your anaerobic run to aerobic run.
Okay.
Unless you expand your aerobic base. This brings us to your first question. Aerobic run and anaerobic run. So keep working on your aerobic base. Keep doing a lot of workout on your aerobic base. That's the only way your aerobic base expands. Do a lot of easy runs, particularly when you're doing. And when I say aerobic, a lot of people tell me it was easy. Easy doesn't mean that you felt easy. Easy is what your heart felt. Like when we talk about typically zones. So working on a zone 4 is not very uncomfortable. Of course, when you're working on a higher zone, our speed is also going up, and we enjoy that. But then if you keep pushing for speed, and if you keep ignoring the aerobic run, so the key is work on the aerobic base, do a lot of workouts in the aerobic zone. That's the only way your aerobic base will increase.
So like if you know your threshold heart rate, then only you can make out your aerobic run.
That's right.
Heart rate.
Yes.
So if my threshold heart rate is around 180.
That can't be your aerobic threshold.
That can't be my threshold.
That can, see, again, let's first understand what is threshold. Threshold is any limit. So 180 heart rate is probably the zone where you are already working not only in anaerobic, you are probably working on your VO2 max zone.
Yeah.
So if you're working in VO2 max zone, your heart is already pumping that hard. How will your, operation of aerobic zone come into play?
And my point is, if I know my threshold heart rate and how to make out like it is a zone 4, basically threshold heart rate is again in zone 4. And my aerobic base is zone 2.
Okay, so aerobic zone is zone 3.
Okay.
So work on that aerobic zone. Work within the zone 3. That will help you expand your, see, it is you're training your heart in that zone. So if you keep operating in that zone, it will get stronger, it will get more familiar, more comfortable to operate in that zone. The moment you move to the other zone, your entire body operations, आपने गाड़ी का gear change कर दिया तो वो सारे उसी हिसाब से operations change हो जाते हैं. तो वो फिर उसी behavior पे work कर रहा है. आपकी body की fueling किस part से हो रही है, आपकी body का, आपका heart कितना pump कर रहा है, वो सब उस zone में काम कर रहा है. To make your heart comfortable and expand that aerobic zone, you have to keep working on the aerobic zone. There's no other way.
So it means we have to do long runs in very, very easy zone. And that should be really long for us.
No, ideally, you should do about 70%, 70 to 80% of your mileage in aerobic zone. So it's not just your long runs. You need to put in a lot of easy runs in between. You need to put in a lot of cool downs and warm ups in between. So we often get confused. There's a book called Run Slow to Run Fast. If you read that book, you'll realize what it means. If your heart can operate at the slow pace, it will be able to operate at a higher pace. But if you keep training for a higher pace, it will fail at a slower pace. So you must focus on aerobic base. If your aerobic base, yes sir, that one. Once your aerobic base expands, pushing it to the next zone is like a piece of cake. Like this is a very common example I've given a lot of times. I'll just quickly, now that everybody's here. When I did the first full marathon, 2015, in Mumbai, my heart rate at that time in that run, my timing was 4 hours, 59 minutes, almost 5 hours. And my heart rate in that was about close to 190, 180s was, I think 180 was the average heart rate in that. Now, the last run that I did, where the full marathon I had completed in 3:44, and my average heart rate was 154. So not only my speed has become better, my heart rate has become lower. So that's what aerobic base does to you. Today, my resting heart rate is about 42. So if I'm doing nothing, my heart rate is at 42. You know, a lot of times people look at it and check if he's zinda hai ki nahi hai. But
Tarun, if I'm doing nothing, my heart rate is 65.
yeah, so you need to work on that heart rate, sir. That will only happen once you do aerobic workout. That's why I was telling you in the beginning that you need to work on your aerobic workouts.
Can you give me example of an aerobic workout?
Like if you're doing cycling, your aerobic, you can do riding at an aerobic zone, moderate pace, continuous workouts. So when you mentioned that you are doing 200 kilometer and 300 kilometer, those are like events, they are not workouts. You need to bring in your workouts where, you know, particularly one of the important things for aerobic workout is that any workout that you're doing more than 60 minutes has its own negative impacts. So it's a matter of training. You need to, as I was telling you, just restructure your workouts in such a way that there is enough aerobic training and there is enough high intensity training. If there is an imbalance, then the result will not be as much as you may like.
So if you are working out at home, now it's the COVID time, can you give examples of some, yeah, cycling is very good. I love cycling, but now I cannot walk. So can you give some examples of aerobic?
There are light intensity workouts that you can maybe find some of them on YouTube. It's very difficult to point out the workouts that you can do right now. But then if you would look up, you know, any of the resources online, you will find a lot of low intensity aerobic workouts. And
so how much time should we do that?
If you're doing for half an hour, that's pretty good.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, Alok.
So that answers my question.
Okay. Did you have another question to it, or is that it?
I have a few, doubts like in anaerobic zone, mein, aapko, like you need to have you lack oxygen in your body. So if you expand that zone, like even after my 3 hours of run, and I am able to breathe easily during my workout, I can feel that I'm at an easy pace and I'm still, breathing well. Still, my Garmin shows that I'm in anaerobic zone. Why is it so?
So you have to trust Garmin. Simple as that. Because it's not that if it is anaerobic zone, your heart, like Jim Carrey, will pop out of your chest and start showing here, right?
Even my heartbeat says around 150, 145, something like that.
So, like I said, that your Garmin also defines your zones. Now, if you are in anaerobic zone, your Garmin will reflect that you are in anaerobic zone. You may not feel it. It's not that you're going to collapse. God forbid, but that is what leads to a lot of collapsing also. But it doesn't happen like, आज आप भागे और गिर गए, कल भी भागे फिर गिर गए, परसों भागे फिर गिर गए. It doesn't work like that. Your heart has a way of, your body has a way of, kind of supporting you. But then it is a kind of an abuse that you're doing, that you're pushing it beyond its limit every day without really letting it be capable to push. So first make it capable to push and then push it. And that's why aerobic and anaerobic, the two terms that are defined. When you say anaerobic zone is when you're doing a certain activity which requires more oxygen, but your heart only has a certain ability to give oxygen. So it starts working. I mean, so many analogies that can be given. If your body is not being fueled, if your business is not being funded, the business will collapse. If the money is not coming in and you keep booking your expense, what will happen? One day the people will come and take away your car, take away your chair, table, everything. So what are you going to do? It's better to know what are your reserves and then spend accordingly. If you are already always overspending, you are going to be in debt all the time.
And that is exactly my question. My question is like, I'm comfortable with 6-hour runs also. Like we have done 6-hour runs also. But after 3 hours of run, when I'm feeling comfortable, and then also my watch is showing anaerobic zone, when I'm supposed to be doing very, very comfortable, run.
So
that is where the doubt comes in.
Yeah. So like I said, that's why you need to understand feeling comfortable is one thing. But your heart is under stress and there is a gadget on your hand which is telling you it is under stress.
Okay.
There is no other way. When we go to a doctor, a lot of time we say, मुझे कुछ नहीं हुआ है. Doctor ही बोलता है कि नहीं ये report देखो. So we can't tell the doctor that no, I'm feeling all right.
Yeah, I got your point.
Okay, Haspreet, we are seeing your hand.
Sir, good evening. Sir, good evening. Sir, I have a question that when I run, I'm running at a particular pace, but suddenly, I feel there's a pain in my knee and my pace comes down. So there is something which we can take care that while running, the knee is not affected much, or I mean, how do we run so that we can protect our knees? Because at times I get some problem, where I have pains in my feet also, maybe after the run. So it takes me a day to recover. What could be a particular reason for this? Especially when it's knee pains or something.
First and foremost thing that we need to understand that running does not causes injury. Running does not causes pain.
Okay, sir.
It is improper running or inadequate strength which causes pain and which causes injuries. So what is very important is that we learn and we correct our form, we make our body, what we typically use the word economical. We learn to run economically. When we run economically, we consume less energy. And when we consume less energy, we put less impact on our body. So when you're seeing the pain in your knees is probably because of a certain form which is causing more impact on your knees. So for few kilometers, you are able to bear that impact. And once it crosses your threshold of pain, it becomes unbearable and becomes difficult for your joints and muscles to take. And that's where, like you said, sometimes you get this pain in your feet. So these are the things where, everything has a certain, threshold of how much they can bear. So if your muscles, number one is, of course, you need to strengthen them, which you have been doing a wonderful job. We've seen you in the morning. But then the other thing is that you work on reducing your impact on your joints as much as you can while you're running.
Right, sir. Right, sir. So one more thing, what I have heard is that when we do running, it depletes our muscles. So of course we are doing body strength training exercises and everything, but do you think gymming, weight training is also required?
When we say gymming, you must understand what is gymming all about. Gymming is just a civilized way, wrong word, not civilized way. It's just one of the evolution in civilization of trying to get healthy. While we all are doing, typically, our ancestors were not going to gym. It's only, with the advent of civilization, we've formed these gymnasiums and everything. So the idea is to keep your muscles under enough stress so that they keep improving. It can be through weights. I do not recommend lifting very heavy weights because we are not working on particular muscle developments. We are working on muscle strengthening to cope up with our not daily activities, also our various physical sports and all that we do. So pure gymming is not really the answer. If you go to gym, yes, you can always lift weights. There's nothing wrong in lifting weights.
Right, sir.
But if you're doing body weight exercises and you're doing them well, you probably do not need any weights.
So one thing I've realized that in the lockdown, when before the lockdown, we had a very active lifestyle, moving out day in, day out, going to the office, moving here and there. I mean, the body was quite active. But in the lockdown, though, of course, in the morning, we are doing our strength training, body weight exercises. But I think the cardio has suddenly reduced because of the lockdown. So, at times you still feel very lethargic. Is it because of the cardio going down that lethargy is there, or could be some other reason?
It also could be due to deficiency of vitamin D, deficiency of vitamin B.
Okay.
Because you are indoors most of the time and your vitamin D is totally compromised. It also could be due to your lack of hydration because we are sitting at home and we don't realize, we don't feel that thirsty.
Right.
So, there are various things that come into picture, and that's why it's very important. If you see, I'm still drinking water. This is my 5th liter of bottle of the day, and I'm always drinking water and making sure I'm having my electrolytes, making sure, just make it your protocols, just make it something that you have to do. Often we tend to just drink water when we're thirsty, which is the most incorrect way to do, because you must understand here, thirst is the sign in the crisis that our body gives that, boss, you need water.
Right, sir.
That means you're already in the negatives. So make sure you keep drinking water through the day, make sure you keep fueling yourself, make sure you're eating your food, your body, as so many times I've told you guys in the session, it is a very smart piece of, biological engineering. It will not let you fail. Anything that you do wrong, it will always have some way to compensate. Now, the problem is we think that since it is compensated, we are okay with it and we can go on with it. But that's where like we were just talking about this in one of the earlier questions with Franklin, that eating less is not the only thing that you should do, because what happens is that when you eat less, it may not be right, but your body gets used to it. Your body gets used to that, boss, this is all that I get to eat.
Right,
so it starts working on a backup mechanism that, okay, मुझे सिर्फ यहाँ से X amount खाना मिलना है, बाकी मुझे कुछ internally operate करना.
So something related to this only, like how do we decide that our body needs like extra protein supplements or something, because right now what we feel, we have measured quantities of food that we eat throughout the day. So how do we come to know that maybe our body needs some extra supplements also, like a protein supplement or something?
To get a basic understanding, you need to get a body analysis done, which defines time to time that, okay, what is your body composition, what amount of protein and body fat, visceral fat and everything that you have. But generally, I tell you, लोगों का जो lifestyle है, most of us are protein deficient. Most of us, whether we talk about being non-vegetarians or vegetarians or whatever. Some vegetarians, if on the house, with no offense meant, vegetarians have more protein deficiency. Also because some of the amino acids are not available in vegetables, so they're only available in meat, so they further get deficient. So it's very important that we kind of, if for a couple of days, if you just look down and write down your diet, we can discuss it offline maybe after that, after 2-3 days. You just write everything subconsciously, don't try to change anything, just write down everything that you eat during the day.
Right, sir.
And you'll be appalled. I'll give you an example. When I started running, I used to, of course, I went through this and, I had a lot of problems and I used to discuss with a lot of people. So one thing that few of my friends told me that you are not drinking enough water. And I was like, what are you talking? I've been a sports person all my life. I know what is hydration and what is nutrition, and I've been drinking enough water. They said, okay, just keep a check. I used to only drink 1.5 liters of water during the day.
Right.
So we don't realize this, and the cure to it is I keep counting my bottles now.
Right, so right.
So keep a check on what you're eating and what you're drinking.
Right, sir. Right. So thank you so much. Thank you.
Yes. Okay. We are closing to the time, but it's okay. We'll just hang around till you guys like to. The next question is Vipin here? Vipin is not here. Next is Sanjay Mehra. Sanjay sir, how are you?
Good evening. I'm good. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Please shoot.
Okay. My question is slightly, the opposite of some of the other people have asked. Rather, it will be falling under the same subject of weight management.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm on the other end of the spectrum where I intend to gain weight always. Okay. In short, I was about 73 kgs a year back. When the first lockdown started, I started working out regularly every day with you guys. And then my weight came down by about 5 to 6 kgs. And subsequent to that, I've been doing a regular workout for about 25-30 minutes every morning, about 6 days a week at least. And so despite of my efforts to increase weight and eat healthy and eat more, still I ended up losing another couple of kgs till about 1.5 months back. Okay, now COVID happened and I also got COVID and I lost another 3.5 kgs further. So now I'm about 64 kgs effectively, and want to gain weight. Of course, want to gain back my strength also, which I've lost during COVID. But then yes, I do want to gain weight, and this is one area I will work on.
So gaining weight, the first and foremost thing is, of course, your diet. Make sure you're eating enough, make sure you're eating right. As I said, that often we don't realize, because our body has ways of adapting to what we feed. So if you feed less, it will accept that. If we feed more, it will accept that. We see a lot of people just eating all the time and gaining weight, and they are comfortable doing that. How do they manage that? That's because their body gets used to it. Their body accepts that. Then we also have people who would eat less, as I said, and still the body will get used to it. In your case, particularly because you've lost weight, because of having lost it out of the workout, I will not be so worried. But because of the your disposition, I would say just focus on your diet. Make sure you're eating enough, you're eating well, and keep working out. That's very important. What you're eating must be consumed by the body in the right way. And before you know, I'm sure things will get all right.
Yeah, okay. I don't think I'm much worried about this last 3 kgs which I lost in this last 20 days, 25 days, because that I think is a temporary phenomenon. It will come back. But I'm more worried about that sustained thing which has come down by about almost 6 to 7 kgs because of workouts, and despite of my eating, trying to eat more.
I would look at that as a positive sign, frankly, because so which means you were 67, right? Hello, Mr. Mehra. I think we lost his.
Hello.
Sanjay sir.
Yeah.
So
I was
67, right?
about 66, 67 1 month back.
So I think 66, 67 is a pretty good weight for your height. I mean, of course, I know your height.
I'm about 5 feet 9.
Yeah, so 67 is a decent weight. You know, I would not be too much worried about it. Particularly if it has come to it with the workouts. You know, I would not really stress too much on that.
Okay. Yeah. But still, I mean, if I want to increase still further, I mean, what's a healthy way of increasing weight?
A healthy way of increasing is eating little more healthy food. You make your you increase your diet consumption. That's the only way that you will increase the weight. But then at the same time, you must keep working out because that's the only way that it will be at least not accumulated only as fats, and it will keep converting to muscles and as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Kailash Gwala.
Yes, sir. Good evening.
हाँ, याद आया कुछ सवाल?
सवाल तो I have one question.
Okay.
Like how important is warm up and cool down after between long run or something? And second question is I try to do some legs workout, but I sometimes do it extra, and for 2-3 days or maybe longer, I am unable to run because of those legs workout. Okay, so I don't know the limit of how much I should do. So that is where I'm having issues, and I don't want to do the legs workout, so that I don't miss out on running.
So quickly touching upon the warm up and the cool down, very important, because when you're doing any workout, as I said earlier also, that your heart and your body operates at a level. To transit it from a zero activity to for that particular block of workout, you should give some time so that your joints are more active and receptive, your muscles are more receptive, your blood starts flowing through easily, and your body starts responding to it. If you suddenly push yourself into a, your heart is at 50, 60 degree and suddenly push it to 90 degree, there are chances that you may get dizzy, there are chances that you may get injured because your blood supply will not be proper and your muscles will be little sore and inactive to suddenly put into that. So it's always very important to do a warm up. And then similarly, the cool down is important, because once you finish the workout, you must give it time to come to the rest position where the body gets comfortable, body gets into a zone instead of just transiting suddenly from X to Y. Also, what happens when you're doing high intensity workout, there are certain kind of acids that gets built up in your body. So, and number one, they must be washed out. Number two, they must be consumed and not stored, because if they get stored in your body, they lead to cramps and things like that. So typically after every workout, like particularly when we are doing long runs, and you must have seen that after that your body is a little more crampish. So if you don't do a cool down, your lactic and other acids, they do not get washed out, and your muscles are not relaxed, and then they start getting cramped. So that is why you need to do these two. About the legs workout, yes, it's very important, but you had answered it yourself that you do extra. So it is something that you only can define. What is extra for you may be easy for somebody else. So you have to know your threshold. If you are After 2 days also you're feeling pain, that means you've not recovered well. That means you need to cut that down. Even if you're aspiring to do more, but your body is not handling that right now. So hold back at this point in time, and then later you can, slowly build upon.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, next is Nishant Wadhwa. Is Nishant here?
Hi, sir. How are you?
Hi, Nishant.
Sir, I had a question that lately I've been diagnosed with high blood pressure and high cholesterol as well.
Okay.
So I was doing good running at that time, I think for a year back. But there was, my general physician said that you should not run that much because your cholesterol is high. And I quit running and I started walking and doing other things. But now I've started again. I feel fine. I'm in the medication, under the medication right now. So my heart rate goes above 180, 183. So I wanted to ask how much this maximum heart rate should be while running.
So Nishant, again, this is a pretty huge aspect of heart rate that you questioned, but I'll try to address it as much as I can. First of all, there isn't how much it should be. There's nothing like how much it should be. When we are doing speed runs or threshold runs and all that we talk about, there the heart rate has to go up. It has to go to the tempo threshold, or it has to go to the VO2 max threshold for your heart to operate and for you to get the anaerobic benefit. But at the same time, most of your runs should be in aerobic zone. That is how you will gain from your cardiovascular activity.
And what is aerobic zone? What level should it be?
If I was to just put it in the simple way, what we call a conversational pace, that when you're running, you should be easily and legibly able to converse with your co-runner. The way I'm talking to you right now, I should be able to talk like that while running. If
I am always able to. I'm usually doing 5 kilometers these days, and I'm running in like 7 speed, 35 minutes, 34 minutes. And जब मैं check करता हूँ watch में अपना heart rate, when it is 150, 154, at that time also I'm feeling the same. But when it reaches 183, I don't get to know that my heart rate has gone 183. It's only when I check my all the labs and everything, तब वो मुझे दिखाता है that you had reached that level 183. जब मैं 172 था तब भी मेरे को ऐसा नहीं लगता है कि मैं थक रहा हूँ, तो मैं जानबूझ के slow down होता हूँ कि मैं उसको वापस अपने 150, 155 level पे लेके आऊँ.
In your case, because you already have high BP, your heart rate has a very high base level. So when you start, your heart rate is already very high. So what you need to do, you need to train accordingly. There are ways to do it. You need to do smaller intervals. You need to get your heart to operate at that level so that it kind of gets comfortable and your heart rate comes down. So you have to approach it little cautiously because too much of exposure on a higher heart rate zone is not good. But I can say with a fair amount of understanding that not running is not a solution. So don't give up on running. Trust me, it will solve a lot of your medical problems.
So you mean to say when it reaches high, I should stop and do it lightly? Start walking. I should not run fast. I don't have to do it in 7 minutes or something. I have to check my heart rate.
Don't look at don't look at this. Don't worry about that at all. Speed is incidental. Speed happens. Speed happens to everybody sooner or later. But if you try to push for speed, you will be doing more damage to yourself.
Okay. I should run slowly and make sure the heart rate normal, right? Okay.
That's right.
And one more problem I have that lately I've been post running. I have that problem of acidity as well. I don't know. It was not earlier, but nowadays it has happened twice or thrice. Last evening rather, I went for a run. It was fine, but day before yesterday I had that problem. So how should I change something in my food or something?
Yes, you need to be cautious. So acidity could be maybe if you still have undigested food in your gut, that may lead to acidity. Depends what you've eaten before, that may lead to. So there are a lot of issues that come into it. You have to be a little conscious about what you're eating, how much you're eating. A lot of times our gut has a negative reaction to what we eat. And the moment we start working out, because obviously, it affects our gut when we are running. So it leads to, you know, various such issues like, you know, acidity and things. So be conscious about what you're eating, you know, and never run on a heavy stomach.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Tarun.
Next is Ritu Bansal. Do we have Ritu here? Yeah, Ritu is here.
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Ritu.
My question is, I have plantar fasciitis and ACL injury.
Oh, okay.
So can I run? Actually, I have started running since 2 months back under the guidance of Mr. Neeraj. So मेरे लिए क्या running ठीक रहेगी?
Running, as I said, is not the problem. Running. So as far as your plantar issue is concerned, yes, you need to see that, you know, you are doing, you are not aggravating your injury. If it has not become bad already, make sure you do enough stretches and make sure you release your calves, because most of the time it is the origination is because of the tight calves and all. And ACL status, I cannot really comment, because it entirely depends upon what is the status of your, you know, whether that's a, you know, a major issue or a minor issue. And because if it is a major issue, then you obviously cannot push too much load on it. So you will probably be better to get some kind of a medical advice on that. To define that, okay, how much should be okay for you.
Okay. And is standing jogging is beneficial?
No, I don't.
In today's scenario, like we can't go outside.
No, I don't see much benefits out of it. In fact, it can lead to injuries, because you know, our body is not fully mobile, and it has restricted movements, and it can have negative impact.
Okay. Thank you.
Because, you know, when you're running, your body flows in a different direction. When you're standing and running, your body is in different position. The loading is different. The, you know, biomechanics are different, and I don't really see much benefits from it.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Ritu. Next is we have Pooja Bhandari. Is Pooja here? Yeah.
Yeah, hi, good evening, Tarun. I'm here, but in particular, I won't have any questions at this moment because I'm not into running.
Okay.
But yes, it was a good, insightful session, and I learned lots. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone, for all your questions.
Thank you. Next we have is Shekhar Raj Sharma. Is Shekhar here? Shekhar is not here. Okay. Kaushal Sakaria. Is Kaushal around? Kaushal is not here as well. Next is Niyati. I think I saw Niyati. Niyati is not here either. Okay, great. Next is Tisha. Tisha, would you like to ask something?
Yes, hi.
Hi.
My question is quite a bit like Pooja's. I was wondering, as someone recovering from COVID, what kind of exercises should we begin with to strengthen our muscles and to get back the stamina that at least comes close to what we used to have before we got COVID?
So first of all, I would say, why come close to it? Why not get back to what it was? So let's be optimistic, and I'm sure it is possible to recover. Because it's just a temporary phase. Just as it has been depleted, it can definitely come back. Secondly, I think what kind of exercise will be difficult to point out, because it will entirely depend upon, you know, how much of an impact it has been on your body. First of all, what's very important is to work on your breathing exercises, because particularly in COVID, we've seen it affects our lungs, it affects our breathing system and respiratory issues. So anything that you may do, like even Pooja was saying that, about heart problem, heart rate is being very high. So you need to start working a lot on your lungs and your respiratory system. So it will be very helpful if you start with a lot of respiratory exercises. We do a lot of pranayam and all these things, which are very, very helpful. So before we start putting any kind of physical load on our body, I would say let's start working on the respirational, strength. And gradually, as we feel comfortable with it, as our body starts responding, doing very light body weight exercises may be the first thing to do to see how our body is responding. One can do some homework, workouts. Then of course we have the options to go to gym and all, and you start lifting weight if you're into weightlifting, or if you're into running or riding or anything, you could start that. But let that curve be shallow. There's no harm if you start something 2 days late, but if you try to start it 2 days earlier, it may have more negative impact. The recovery from that negative impact may just push us back further, rather than what the benefits we're trying to get out of it. So go slow and listen to your heart. Simple as that. Your heart really defines the kind of stress. If you're feeling restless after workout, if you're not sleeping well, all those are signs of overburn. So make sure you rest well, make sure you eat well, and stay active. It's another important thing for recovery is not only the workouts you do, it's about the way you spend your day. If somebody does a workout in the morning and the rest of the day we're not doing enough, of course we have limited options of going out and moving around nowadays. But to stay active through the day is also one of the ways to keep our body, our metabolism rate at a good, reasonable level. And metabolic rate is a sign of how our functions are happening, how our body is operational through the day. So if that is taken care of, I don't see why you should not recover like this.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Tisha. Okay, so next we have Dhruv has left. Aarti, are you still here, or she was here earlier? I think she's left. Okay. Then Vijay Goel. Vijay ji, are you here? आप तो सबसे पहले आए थे. Okay, he's left, I think. Ashish Garg. Colonel Swag, I'll just come to you. Ashish Garg is not here. Yes, Colonel Swag.
You told about the lactic acid accumulation and it washing out. We just want to confirm, how does this wash out from the body? It by sweat or through urine, or how does it sweat?
Sir, I will not be able to answer that technically about it. My knowledge to those aspects is limited, but what happens is that, when we are working out, our body is in anaerobic zone, there is lactic acid that gets built in our blood, right? So which gets mixed with our bloodstream. And that is what needs to get consumed when we start slowly cutting down, we start bringing down. So whatever purpose that it has formed, or the extra quantity that it has kind of been produced to, that has to kind of get eliminated from our system, and our system has to get into its normal state. If it remains in our bloodstream, then it just leads to cramps, and when it leads to cramps, and our recovery gets delayed. So it's an entire cycle of that, delays that start happening. So next is Sarah. Hi, Sarah.
Hi.
Yes, Sarah. What is the question you have?
I don't really have much questions, but okay.
That's possible.
Well, all right. So I just have, okay, I'm just going to say it out. Staying in Bangkok, where the country is really, really, really hot, it's and humid at the same time. Running is kind of hard. Not only that, it's not possible sometimes, and lack of water, lack of everything, you know. So humidity plus the hot weather. How do you run in such kind of climate? And how do you manage to breathe? Like, what do you do? Like, how do you get your oxygen?
Yeah, so yes, you know, humidity does make it difficult. One of the collaterals of humidity is that your heart rate keeps popping up because your oxygen supply is depleting. Your heart is having to work harder. You're losing more salt. You're losing more water from your body. So you can only do as much use as possible humanly. So few things that I would suggest is make sure you are hydrated through the day. Make sure your electrolyte levels are well taken care of. Before going out for a run, just take a small, you know, dosage or a shot of electrolyte so that you are kind of overloaded with electrolyte. So when you start losing salt, it kind of compensates, and you know there is no immediate drop in your salt levels. If the workout is for too long, maybe more than like 75 minutes or so, I would even recommend taking salt capsules, which we take sometimes. The idea is just to keep compensating for all the losses that you are having, which through normal diet and something is not possible. The rate of depletion is higher. So, and then of course, recovery. Moment you finish your workouts, start replenishing, start having your electrolytes and everything. In spite of it all, it will be difficult. There's no doubt. Running in a pleasant weather, suddenly you'll feel easy, you'll feel comfortable. Running in a humid weather, you'll feel all drained out, sweaty and gone. But you can only do these compensatory things. Keep your hydration in check, keep your electrolyte in check, and keep fueling while you're running.
It's kind of hard because even like I was drinking like a camel today, but I just couldn't finish couldn't finish my run properly. So yeah.
Yeah, so you don't have to drink like a camel. You have to drink more frequently. A camel would just drink once and carry it, right? So drink it more frequently. It'll help you more.
Okay,ค่ะขอบคุณค่ะ.
Drink during the workout as well. While you're running, it's just make it a practice. If you're not doing, just keep taking small sips. Because see, you are going to keep losing water at a much higher rate than what you can replenish. So if you keep sipping water, it just helps.
Okay, we'll try. Thanks.
Thanks, Sarah. And we have another name, Mahendra Singh. Mahendra Singh here. Okay, he's not here. Then we have last couple of names, Priyanka Singh. Priyanka Singh is not here. Okay. And then we have Rohit Bisht. Rohit has also left, it seems. Okay, great. So I think we're done. Anybody, have we missed out? Anybody wants to ask?
Jyoti Bhadra.
Tarun, I have one more question. Frankly.
Yes.
I have cut down on ghee. Should I do that?
You know, I cannot really in this position answer these questions. Allergy or some intolerance to any product, which only one can know after investigation, because all the foods have their
I
own.
don't have intolerance. I mean, just to keep weight on check. I cut down on ghee.
So, you know, to keep weight on check, you don't even have to go zero carb. I am not even, you know, because you need glycogen. You know, if you're going to cut down on carbs completely, that is also not going to be very healthy.
Okay.
Okay, Jyoti. Yeah. Hi,
Yeah,
Jyoti.
hi, sir.
Hi.
So a quick question. I'd like to know the correct posture basically when you're running, and how would you know that you're not actually carrying the correct posture when you're running?
difficult to demonstrate here. Yeah, but like I'll tell you a few basics about, right posture. One of the right posture is that you should feel light. Okay, because anything, like I said, running is not supposed to be difficult. Running is the most natural thing that human species is made for. So unfortunately, over generations, we've kind of forgotten running and we make it difficult for ourselves. So when we start running, and a lot of us start running, at whatever age in our lives, so our body is also not used to it. So few things that I can straight away point out for you is that keep your shoulders easy. One of the major and most common thing that we do, we try to push ourselves like this when we're running because we think we have to reach faster. That is the way to run. Keep your shoulders easy. Keep your neck easy. Always steady and looking in front. If your upper body is relaxed, your weight going down will be. If you're stiff here, then all your energy is being consumed here. There is negative force being generated in your body and you will tire soon. Other thing is keep your hands closer when you're running. So if I'm like this, my hands are like this. A lot of times we run like this or whatever. A lot of things we do.
Yeah.
The most economical form of running, if you would see these elite runners, is you will not see their upper body moving at all. All you will see is their legs are rotating and their hands are swiveling like this. So even in hands, when we're doing this, a lot of times people have this shuffling.
Right.
Now this is wrong because what I'm doing is I'm consuming the energy in going left to right, whereas I have to go back and forth. So my energies have to be, it's like I have 10 rupees. And if I use those 10 rupees to go forward, I'll get maximum benefit. If I spend 2 rupees here, 2 rupees there, I will be only left with 6 rupees. In terms of energy, I am not only going to lose those 2 rupees, my hands are going to get tired. So the energy that I could have used to go forward, I'm instead using sideways.
So one needs to put like a conscious effort to not basically swaddle the hands or perhaps keep the body erect and upright.
Yes. And trust me, there is no other way to run better because subconsciously we've forgotten. So now we need to consciously come back to how we are supposed to run.
Right.
One of the most unnatural thing, like I tell everybody, is what all of us are doing right now, sitting on a chair. I'm also sitting on a chair. You will not see any animal sitting on a chair. In circus, they make animals sit on a chair and people laugh at that. Whereas we do it all day long. That's the most unnatural thing to do. And that is why, and look at the big scam that comes out of it, where first they make us sit on a chair and then they make an ergonomical chair with a little jump, little back and all that stuff. They try to sell us those expensive chairs.
Yeah.
So the point is, why do something unnatural? Unfortunately, we don't have a choice. We live in a civilized world where we are supposed to sit on a chair. But when you run, our body needs to get into its natural form. I won't say it's difficult, but yes, it takes effort. It takes effort. You need to consciously look at yourself. You need to have your coaches to look at you and guide you. Like your body is like an engine. Okay, you want to run it like a BMW engine or a Maruti engine is your choice. So it's how efficient you make it out to be. You can get an average of 5 kilometers or 50 kilometers. If you're running like this, consuming all your energy here, then obviously you will be wasting your energy and it won't be able to run fast or run long. If you are running in a more efficient way, you will be able to run long and you will be able to do it.
And one more question. What would you recommend to eat after the run, eat or drink? As to a lot of times, personally, why I'm asking this question is, I do evening runs. I am not like a morning run person somehow. And when I run after a cup of tea, which I would have say like around 5-ish and then try to run at around 6-ish. But when I'm back at around 7-ish, I don't know what to do. should I eat immediately? Should I not eat? Should I wait? That's like one of my biggest concerns.
The first thing I would advise is stop having your tea before you run.
Okay.
Because tea generally makes you a little more acidic.
Mm-hmm.
So second thing, what I would very strongly recommend is that right after the run, depends upon the extent of your workout, you definitely need some water, some electrolyte, because you've lost water, you need to replenish that first thing, first and foremost.
So does that mean I can gulp down a glass of water? Sorry to interrupt, but does that mean like, yeah?
But I mean, don't you feel like, I mean, I just gulped down the whole bottle after my run.
I do, but I'm not sure if I should technically do that. You know, I'm all sweaty.
You know, if you next time, if you have the access, check your weight just before the run and after the run. You will realize your weight has come down. What would you have lost? All the water. And that water needs to come back. That's not a healthy loss.
Correct.
So that water needs to come back in your body. Make sure you drink enough water, electrolytes, because you've not just lost water, you lost salt. So drink electrolyte. And within about 45 minutes, it's good to have a protein shake or something, because all the muscle loss that you had, the protein will help you replenish that quicker than otherwise. So it's like your recovery time. The sooner you recover, the better, and the sooner you can come for your next workout. If you have not recovered, say you've depleted X and you've only recovered X by 2 by the next workout, you will be able to do the next workout. And I was saying in one of the previous answers, but you would always be already be at a loss.
Yeah.
And then you will lose again. So make sure if you've lost X, you've recovered X by the next workout. Now, I'll just add to this, what again I was asked, that if I want to do a workout in the morning and the evening work, if I've recovered enough, then I should do the next workout. Because again, if I haven't recovered, I may feel fine. I may do the next workout, I'll further deplete. And then again, for the next workout, I obviously would not have recovered. So the key is recovery. And recovery only happens by 3 things: hydration, nutrition, rest. There's no substitute to it. You should be rested enough. You should have eaten enough. You should have had enough to drink. Water and electrolytes only.
Right. And how about a glass of milk after the run? Sometimes I really feel like having, like a heavy.
Milk is good. Cold milk is good.
Yeah, cold milk, especially sometimes.
Yes, cold milk is good. It is very good after, say, about half an hour or so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very good for recovery.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Jyoti. So I think we are done with the questions. Anybody wants to ask anything else?
Sir, Gunjan, पूछ लो.
Go ahead, Gunjan, पूछो.
Okay, I think it's more to those who actually continuously running. So, I mean, what should be the running strategy weather-wise? So, we have a mix of weather, but so how should we plan to run so that we don't basically lose the efficiency, and rather we keep on improving the efficiency of our running?
The basic key, Gunjan, has to be that you run with your heart zones. Of course, the overlapping criteria would be whether you are training for an event or not, because if you are training for an event, accordingly, you have to train, or your volume of running will be as per your training. Now, when it's overlapped with the weather condition, you have to see that you are anticipating the weather conditions, you are anticipating how your body will respond. If it's hot and humid, of course, it will be a little more taxing on your body. So you take care of your hydration, your salt content, and other issues as we spoke about. And if it is a pleasant weather, then it's not really so much of an issue with the salt loss and everything. And then you just have to manage your time and effort.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, great. So I think that brings us to the end of it. And I would like to thank you all. And some people have logged off. to thank to them also. And some people actually did not come in, so they were only standing up for the cause and helping us. So a big thank to them as well. And we've got close to 50 people who came for this contribution and supported us. So I'm really grateful to each one of you for having supported this. And this will probably, to whatever scale it may mean, I'm sure this well-meaning contribution will go a long way to help people. So thank you, everyone. We'd like to take a group picture with the last people here. We had almost about 40 people at one point in time, and now we have 22. So everybody, please come on the screen. Payal is not here, so I'll just give a basic protocol. You have to smile, that's mandatory. Okay. Okay, so we are going to, just a moment. Andrea, are you coming on the video? Okay, I think Andrea is out chasing her daughters. Okay, so in 3, 2, and 1, once again. Okay, Haspreet is back. 1 second, guys. Haspreet is back. We'll wait for her to log in. Oh, yes, Andrea. Okay, Haspreet, we are waiting for you to come on the video so we can take a picture. Oh, guys, we have more people joining in. Good, we have more people for the picture. So guys, please, those who just joined in, Ritu, Nishant, please turn on your videos. Okay, in 3, 2, and 1. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you once again. And
it was a nice session. Thank you so much.
Again, I hope you guys did benefit from it. And once again, I'd like to thank you all, and hope to see you guys soon. Stay safe. Take care of yourself.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.
So much. Lovely.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Be safe.